This new report of the Helsinki Commission on Corruption in Ukraine concludes that there has been progress made in Ukraine's fight against corruption, and that's new. That hasn't always been the case in Ukrainian history, so that's very exciting. I think we've seen a diminishment of the power of oligarchs, a pretty significant diminishment. However, they are still extremely influential. That said, there have been real reforms. The two that I think of are the anti-corruption architecture, NABU, SAPO, NAPSI, which are quite robust, and in the energy sector, there has been great progress, which again is different than any time in Ukraine's past. However, we've also seen a little frustration and slowdown most recently in the fight against corruption, and we'd like to see that reverse. One of the big pieces of this is a new law that's been passed that requires civil society to complete e-declarations like the government all the way down to the individual level. This is a needless burden for civil society. And then another issue is the harassment by the SBU. And that, again, needs to stop. That's the putting out of information, the leaking of information, the real phone calls, knocks on the door type of stuff, and that's not okay. There's been door knocking, there have been calls, and then there's also been the leaking of details about their lives. They'll come home from a trip or something like that, and all of a sudden they'll realize that enormous financial details, family details, things like that have been leaked. They're online, available, have been used to attack them in some way, and that just can't be allowed to happen.
Do you think the anti-corruption activists are losing part of their, resilience and part of their enthusiasm in this fight?
No, ma'am, no way, no way. I had the incredible pleasure of meeting with a lot of these people in the drafting of this report, journalists and activists. These are incredible people. I couldn't imagine in a million years that they'd lose their zest. These people want to see a prosperous, democratic Ukraine. And I think they will see it in their lifetimes. I mean, it's such a hopeful generation. A lot of them are younger people, that I really think that they'll be able to do it. And there have been accomplishments. There's a slowdown, but there have been accomplishments. We have to prevent backsliding. We have to keep pushing. But we have to note, they've accomplished something. But I think the recent protests have been another demonstration that civil society is not going to give up, that they're going to keep monitoring the process, that they're going to keep pushing for reform, regardless of whether we're headed into an election or not. And that creates an opening for the government as well. That's an important piece of it, right? If civil society stops pushing or loses its power, its fire, then that gives the government a lot less openings to create reform, and that's really a big problem.